Welcome back to WNST, Tassin, Baltimore, and WNST.net. It is a time every week where I bring my pal Bill Cole on from Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy Systems and doing solar and all that good stuff to discuss the state of the world. And it's been a little while since you and I got together. I know we're going to have an accelerant event here this week and get a little inspiration and perspiration. I've even got a robotics event that I know that's after your heart here this week with Ray Lewis up at the Star Academy that you love so much. But the Eric Weddle thing kind of came, and here we are with the Ravens, right, where C.J. Mosley, Eric Weddle, they get a player arrested on Friday. I thought this was the offseason, Bill Cole.
I think that the activity related to the arrest was rather quick and decisive, and maybe it mattered that he hadn't really played in the last, 10 weeks of the season or whatever it was. So that was pretty quick, and then it turns out later, I guess they knew what was going on, but what a knucklehead he is. The Weddle thing is, I don't know, you have to explain that one to me. I kind of thought that he was an inspirational leader and everybody loved him and he seemed to be melding into the community pretty good.
But he didn't make plays. That was the issue. The issue is he didn't make plays. I actually had two NFL coaches disparage him to me over the last 2 years, not as a human being. I mean, that right. Goes without saying, just as the only thing that's keeping him on the field is what a great human being and what a great coach on the field he is, because from a physical standpoint, a lot of coaches felt like he was the weak link. From a, if we go after him kind of player, we'll win that battle one-on-one with younger, faster players than him.
Well, that's good. So if it's strictly about football and we have a plan to get better, then I wouldn't dispute that.
Well, the issue with the safeties, there are a lot of safeties on the marketplace. So for the number, the $6.5 million number they were going to pay him and the $9 million cap number, they haven't said this, and I haven't talked to Eric about this, and I saw John Harbaugh. By the way, Bill, you want the news of the week? Let me give you the news of the week. Monday night, I went with Frank Kelly and some friends, John Von Paris, some buddies of mine, to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. On Monday night, they brought John Harbaugh in. John gave the best speech I've ever seen him give. And if there's any question about whether he's comfortable now and he's got a new deal and whether he's moving on with Lamar Jackson and Eric DeCosta, and I know over at the corporate entity where they don't even go into the locker room over there, that they were all about Eric and John don't like each other and they don't get along and all that stuff. I saw John as comfortable, as with it, as funny, as sort of naked of ego that as I've ever seen him in front of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes on Monday night. The speech, he gave me permission to air the speech. So the speech is up in the buyatoyota.com audio vault. We're going to air it here for the next couple of days. If you hear it, jump into it and stay with it, Bill, because I thought it was just one of the really – I didn't think it was one of the greatest speeches I've ever heard. It's the best speech I've heard John give. You know what I mean? Like, it was a different side of John, not just on the Christian side or his relationship with God or how he feels about Jesus or any of the things that I think we've all know about him and have seen over the last 12 years. I just thought there was a authenticity and a comfort level that I never see in front of him, other than when it's really private and he and I in a cab somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, the John you see on the podium was not the John we saw Monday night or heard from Monday night. And I think if you listen to it, you'll think it's kind of cool. But Luke and I have talked about this. My expectations for this football team, as I got my PSL, and my bill's here on the desk somewhere. I could probably hold. Yeah, I got it right here. Here's my PSL bill, my account information. So my bill just came, and it is $1,444. My PSL, this is my Raven PSL ownership bill. And this is the first time I'm like, I can't sell my PSLs. I can't give them away. I sit down in the front. I don't think I'm renewing my PSLs. The owner hasn't been heard from. I'm not a little disappointed. I'm very disappointed. And the feeling I have in my soul is they're not really going to win the Super Bowl this year. And I don't know that my expectation is that for them. And it's been the first time in a long time I felt that way. Not about the bill. I feel that way about the bill because I ate $1,400 in tickets last year. I kept saying $1,800. I guess it was only $1,400 that I ate in tickets last year. But I ate every ticket last year. They all went to waste. And and I tried giving them away. And in the end, sometimes I put somebody in the seat. Sometimes it was raining and no one wanted to go.
Right.
We're at a different spot with the Ravens, and the Orioles are going to come to the next mayor, which might be me, and have to state and negotiate. We got the Preakness leaving the city, right? So all of these things are going on right now, and the thing that I love the most, the Ravens, I can't even hear from the owner. I'm getting a bill, and I really don't think they can win this year. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's cool that you were able to see that with John and that he's gotten to that place. I would dispute the term genuine or authentic, because he is very genuine, authentic when he naturally is deceiving and fibbing and being his stiff self. So I find that to be authentically how he believes the football coach should respond to things. So I have to laugh about that. But the better part,
there is a part when he steps behind that podium where like he becomes this different human being. That is really, and I'm going to talk to him about it privately and publicly, and there might be a Dear John letter coming, soon. I've been working my Dear Joe Flacco. I feel like my Flacco letter, I don't really want to hit publish on it until after whatever I hear him say when he gets to Denver and does his first press conference. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to write the Joe story yet. Eric Weddle, I don't have a Dear Eric Weddle. I put a couple pictures up. I thought he was just a great guy. I think he makes any room he's in a better place. I just think the team feels like he's not a $6.5 million football player. Right. And I think they feel that way about C.J. Mosley. Mosley did a drunk video. Did you see the drunk video late at night? Friday night?
I did not.
It was a drunk video. It was it was something that you and I might have done when we were 25, and we would regret the next morning. Wait, Lou, you and I did some stuff. We were 25. We regretted the next morning. We just didn't do it on Instagram. That's all.
Nor did anybody care that we were doing it, but that's besides the point.
Fair enough.
I think the other interesting story about the Harbaugh Fellowship of Christian Athlete award ceremony is the player that won, and he's going to Clemson, and I think there's a really good story there.
That kid is an unbelievable story. Taquan,
yeah.
I mean, he got up on stage and behaved in a manner that I haven't seen 30-year-old. Michael Crabtree could learn something from him. You know what I mean? Well, certainly Marlon Humphrey could learn something from him.
If you want to know why Clemson can beat Alabama, it's because they're recruiting 3-star solid dudes instead of just 5-star great players. And, look, the kid's 18, whatever years old. Who knows whether he turns into a knucklehead? We hope he doesn't. But it sounds to me from the stories and the other people that were there. I wasn't there, but there was enough stuff there that night where I've had like 2 or 3 different people talk about the event and the kid and John and all that. So it clearly was a pretty good evening. But I don't even know if anybody realizes, that kid's out there and that he's going to Clemson and his story and all that stuff. So somebody's going to write that. Somebody's going to talk about that.
Well, Taquan Johnson's out there, 6'3", 275 from Williamsport. The story, though, is he grew up on the streets of Baltimore with a father in prison, just lost his grandfather, was adopted and taken in by a family, much like the Michael Orr story to some degree, and given love and shown a home, and incredibly intelligent, incredibly worldly, and, tells his story. He's 18 years old. I mean, it was an incredibly impressive thing on Monday night, and the whole event was impressive. I've been doing more events this week. Tell everybody what Accelerant does, because I know you're a big part of Accelerant. They're doing something this month. I have seen Ron Jaworski give speeches and stuff. I know our friends at Howard Bank also involved as well. But you guys seek to inspire, and this is the week that you do that. So full on, I love what you guys do at Accelerant, and Mike at Demerick, and everybody does there.
Yeah, I mean, Accelerant is basically a business growth platform where all the members are like category exclusive, and we all try and help each other grow their businesses. But we do it from sort of the position of give to get. So everyone is overwhelmingly encouraged and sort of has that inner personality where a guy. So anytime somebody says, "Hey, do you know a guy?"
I got a guy.
I got a guy.
I got a
right?
guy. Yeah.
And so everyone in that group is generally driven by the sort of the personal satisfaction that comes along with being able to refer someone in, for both people, people's benefit, like the guy you're referring and the person that needs the referral.
So when somebody on my Facebook says, man, my roof's leaking, I'm like, I got a guy. I got a guy.
So it's very much that. And then layer on top of that, the speakers that we normally have are of the inspirational ilk, or, have had some challenges in their life and overcome. Or
Amelia Earhart? I mean, yeah, right.
Yeah, sometimes we get a little bit more analytical on the business side, and there's some takeaways there. But it's 300 of your closest friends coming together for a breakfast to try and help each other grow their businesses, do good work, help our community, leave the doors with inspiration so they can go out into the world and share that with other people. So we've really enjoyed our time in there.
It will be a good coffee morning. Bill Cole is here. He is Cole Roofing. He is my official Dr. Melfi around here. Joins us once a week, and we lament the loss of Eric Weddle and talk about the drunk videos of C.J. Mosley and talk about the future of the Ravens as well as the city. This is usually the time in your body clock and my body clock we get ready for baseball, right? I don't know that we're there, right? I mean, they're going to start earlier than they've ever started. They're going to have opening day here now in less than 4 weeks. I've seen a few mentions here and again, but there is no hope on the team. The over-under on wins, if you think they're going to lose 103, you get to win the bet on the positive side this year. I've seen them at 105 or worse. Some thoughts about baseball and the heartbeat of all of this in a week when it's been kind of cold, but they're on TV once in a while and they're playing. That obviously the Bryce Harper thing happened last week. I love how he still wants to bring a parade to DC even though he's playing in Philly. He's already tampered with Mike Trout. All of that's going on in other cities. Here it's just sort of like, well, yeah, they're going to play, and they're going to play 81 times downtown, but is anyone going to go for anything other than the Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah, I can confirm that there are a few of the diehards remain diehardish. So
they do.
I got a couple guys who I would have questioned whether they were paying attention, and they're still paying attention. So that piece never goes away. So I can confirm there will be like at least 200 people at every game. I don't know who's our opening day starting pitcher, and why am I supposed to be excited about him?
That would be a Cashner or a Cobb or a Bunny. I don't know.
Right. And what's the heart of our lineup look like? Like the 3, 4, 5 hitters that are going to make me excited and hope that if there's 2 runners on, we might put a 3-run homer over the wall.
Well, Chris Davis makes a lot of money.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Well, we remember Chris. We can root for him. I mean, it's like you try not to be cynical about the whole thing, and.
Can I be cynical right now?
The only joke I can make is like, let's hope Chris Davis got his drug prescriptions figured out and he got his approval, and then he can be a good hitter again. And I don't want to use that joke. That's stupid. That's a dumb joke. It's not even that funny, right? But what other information, what other stuff do I have to use when there's not even any material to use?
Well, I looked out the window from where I live, and I saw the giant ladder that you guys use on roofs, right? They were up on the warehouse, and I could see they were unfurling whatever the banner. Buck wants you, you know what I mean? Or whatever the banner is, Adam Jones with a bat on his shoulder, Nick Markakis,
did it say
Brian Roberts. Well, I don't. The year of the bird. I don't.
We're still here.
We're still in business. Please,
we're definitely going to play.
Please come on bobblehead night. I don't know what they could put on the side of the wall. Double-digit losses. That's our. But I looked up, and after an hour,
great hot dogs.
Do you know what they put on the wall, or do you not know? Have you been by?
I haven't been down there.
There is a giant 2 and there is a giant 0 on the wall. There is a 20. On the and it's not for Ed Reed, by the way. The Frank Robinson thing, it's almost like the goof run in the country right now. The ability to go all in and be awful to someone, and then when they die, go all in to put their name on the wall. You know what I mean? It was sort of like the Mike Flanagan thing. There was nothing the Flanagan family wanted to see less than a 4 and a 6 on jerseys after Mike killed himself. You know what I'm saying? But we had an office down the. They are deplorable people. Like Frank Robinson had nothing to do with them for 20 years. He showed up when they gave him a statue because I think they wrote him a check. You know what I mean? Like, Frank had nothing to do with them, and now they are going to, like, it's like Bill Hagee. They treated Bill Hagee like trash, and then he died, and they put a 34 in a jersey and sold the place out. It's gross, man. It's gross. Like, let Frank Robinson die in peace, and if you didn't like him and he didn't like you enough to bring him in here once a year and doff the cap and give him a $30,000 check or whatever it was to have him be a part of whatever it was that you wanted him to be a part of, if you didn't do that for 20 years, why are you putting his name on the wall? I'm grossed out by it. I really am. I mean, it'd be like them putting my name on the wall when I die because people liked me or something. They didn't like me. What are you doing, you know?
I mean, I'm not going to hold out hope for that.
No, nor am I, by the way. Nor do I care.
It just lacks. I think it just lacks the creativity. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe if the guy take all the ill will and all that bad stuff out of it, but literally you're trying to kick off a season where you're completely rebuilding, new manager, new concepts, new ownership, like the whole thing. And the most creative thing you could do was that. Like, that just doesn't even, you know what I mean? That doesn't even resonate. I mean, there's not even enough people that would see that and it would move the needle on. Like, that's not going to make people come to the stadium. So. Yeah,
where are the ideas to make people come to the stadium? Like, they just put their tickets on sale. They just announced. I'll get Marty Conway on to talk more about this, but, and they have, like, some decent promotions for, no garden gnomes and bobbleheads and Star Treks. And, I mean, obviously they love to pay licensing fees to Star Trek and Star Wars and Star Nerds and Nerd Night and Hawaiian Night. I mean, they have all of this stuff, but they have a lousy baseball team. And they put Elias and Sig Mejdal out in front of this, and, they got the clowns over at Intercom doing all sorts of, the three best power hitters on the team stuff on social media. It's hilarious. No one cares about the baseball team right now, and they're going to care even less when they start the season 11-26.
Yeah, I think in a city that needs perpetual inspiration and hope to overcome the daily challenges that
we've already had this week, I mean, murder on the street, faked as a right, all of that. Then the next day, it's a crooked cop, and
I mean, if you go through
the middle of the week.
Freddie Gray and the riots, and then you play a baseball game with an empty stadium, like, doesn't that send up the alarm that as an organization, like, you've got to plant your flag and start working because you're as integral in the, rehabilitation of the city's brand and everything good that exists in the city. Like, you, not only do you have to do it for your business continuity reasons, you have to do it because there's no one else, and it's the greatest opportunity to make your brand, you want to get back to where this is an Oriole town and not a Raven town. That was your opportunity. Instead, they have a history of just kind of hiding in the shadows and letting things happen. And
because they're printing money. And they're printing even more money now that they're not paying anyone.
But isn't that boring? Right? Like, there's lots of guys.
I think John Angelos loves laying on the beach in Florida and betting the ponies upstate, not having anything to do with this, except when he comes in when there's a country music concert like last weekend and takes some pictures with Palmer and acts like he's running the place. You know what I mean? Like, I have not met this John Wiedeling guy that they paraded around in August, this Canadian guy who's now with his fifth franchise. He's got 3 LinkedIn pages, and I don't know, and none of them say Orioles, by the way. Literally, none of them say Orioles. One says Texans, one says Heat, and one says 49ers, I think. And they start their season in 3 weeks, and the city, to your point, the city depends upon them. And that has been my message from going back to, by the way, my father's 100th birthday this week, right? So was on Tuesday, March 5th, and I went back to what I wrote in 2006 for Free the Birds. It's been 13 years now since I wrote about my father. When I did Free the Birds, I wrote 19 chapters about growing up in Baltimore and loving baseball and why baseball is important and why baseball is the foundational part of my life. Every friendship, this radio station, my web platform being nationally syndicated, every football book I've written, every football story, everything I've ever done has been because I loved baseball as a kid. I'm a baseball family. I'm a baseball guy. My dad dies, and I go back to reading what I wrote 13 years ago about the decay of the city and how the baseball team, all the things you just said 5 minutes ago, Bill. And all these years later, 13 years later, I look up and I was like Nestor, you know what I mean? Like everything I predicted about the decay around it actually happened. If you go back and read my 2006, this is the path we're heading down, where the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And we are in an incredible era of indifference. I could not have predicted how much money they could have made the last 13 years off of being as awful as they've been civically. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been impossible in the old era to run a club like this and make money, because you would not have had this teat of an annuity, which is what the television deal has become for them. A $200 million a year thing that is a money machine, a public utility for them, that they still have effed up and haven't figured out how to win. All they figured out how to do is put the money in their pocket and lie, which is what they do.
Yeah, so just to be clear, I don't think that the city has to have the Orioles or need the Orioles to do the things that they need to do. But what does have to be true is that if you're not going to help, then you better not come asking for anything. Right? Because, you know what I mean? Like that
especially if I'm mayor.
Right. I mean, that has to be the rule. It's like you have an opportunity as the baseball team and all the heritage in our town to help lead and improve and make things better. And if you're just going to sit on the sidelines and not do anything, then that's the position that the city has to take whenever you come asking for their help. And I don't know if that, I don't know that current civic responsibilities allow people to do that or think that they have that option. But things have to change, and things will be shooken up, if that's even a word. And
shaken up. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? No, hell no.
Right.
He's rolling.
So,
let him roll. Bill Cole's rolling.
I think we just have to remember that, and we have to when the outcry comes because the city is pushing back and isn't willing to make whatever, help the Orioles ask for, and the Orioles start threatening, the people in this town have to get behind the city, not necessarily the city's government, but the city. And somebody has to get out there, maybe you, and talk about the fact that, hey, they haven't been helping us. They're part of the drag. They're part of the reason why this is not good. If they were willing to help us make this place good, then we would love to have them as our partner. We all know that this all works better if they're doing their thing. And people are downtown, and people are going to the restaurants and the bars, and they're, and there's energy down there. And there's not. So that's the only thing
I know there's not, and I'm 4 weeks away from raising holy hell about it. Baltimore Positive is ahead. He is Bill Cole. Cole Roofing, Gordian. Tell me about Gordian. I got to get some new blood in here for you, Bill Cole, after 100 years.
So your homework is, go Google the Gordian knot and do all that reading, and the Reader's Digest version.
Gordian knot. No, I'm doing that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Alexander the Great, as he's running around the world taking everything over, goes to this place of Gordian, and there's a knot, and the old king had said that whoever could untie this knot would be the next king of the land. He's sitting there playing with it. It's a very complex knot. He can't untie it, pulls his sword out, chops the knot in half, and proclaims that he's the king of the new land. And we love that story because doing commercial solar tends to be a pretty complicated dance with municipalities and utility companies and building owners and permitting offices and
the Koch family and
right. It can be a complex problem, and but we know that if you think creatively and you have determination, we can solve those problems. So we love that. That's kind of our solar company in a nutshell: is complexity solved, and we like to do commercial solar. We like to put solar panels on rooftops and in farms and on top of parking garages and all those places. And the economics are worth doing, and we're very much in the place where we just want to educate and show people what the numbers look like. And sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. And but we're out there trying to help people acquire solar if it makes sense.
Turn him to any cause of policy, the Gordian knot of it he will unloose, familiar as his garter. That's Shakespeare, Henry V, Act 1, Scene 1. 45 through 47. There you go. I'm reading from the internet. Bill Cole, Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy Systems. Find him at Cole Roofing. You can find me out in the buy at Toyota.com Audio Vault 24 hours a day. Sometimes some of the stuff's a little deeper than others. That was a little deeper dig with Bill Cole, and that's why I like having him on a little bit. Lots of sports, lots of Terps, lots of March Madness, lots of bitching about the Orioles, because what else are we going to do? Figuring out the Ravens now that Eric Weddle is gone, and now that C.J. Mosley's on the market, and free agency's around the corner. All of it is there. Any breaking news, including the Eric Weddle thing, including what happens next with C.J. Mosley or anyone else, Terrell Suggs, you get it first in the WNST Tech Service. That's all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. I am Nestor, a very, very available individual. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking Baltimore sports.